Grace and peace to you from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Hi, I'm Randy Wall, and the New Covenant Church Online Bible Study is on. Thank you for joining us. We are studying here in this segment the book of Esther, chapters 2 and 3. If you haven't already done so, you might want to check out our other video segment on an introduction of Esther in chapter 1. Esther is one of two books that we find in the Bible that are named after women, the other one being the book of Ruth. It's also noteworthy that in these 10 chapters we don't find the word God mentioned at all, or the Lord mentioned at all. Like the book of the Song of Songs, God is not found in the book at all. In chapter 2, it begins with a contest of sorts. Remember, if you read chapter 1, you know that King Xerxes has gotten rid of his queen, and the reason why is because she would not show her obedience to him, and his authority was under question, and so therefore he's in need of a new queen. And so one of his attendants, as we read verses 2 and 4, comes up with the idea of them having a contest of sorts to find a new queen by looking throughout the kingdom for the young women that are there. And so Esther is among those people who takes that. Esther, as we read in verses 5 through 7, her parents were deceased. She was under the care of her cousin Mordecai. And we also find out that even though the name of the book is Esther, she was also known by the name of Hadassah. In verses 8 through 11, we hear that Esther, with the encouragement of Mordecai, becomes one of the young women who is in this beauty contest of sorts to become the new queen. And she wins favor among the king's associate, Hegai. Esther does not reveal her nationality, that she's a Jew, that she's an Israelite, and in the meantime, as we read in verses 8 through 11, we hear that Mordecai keeps an eye on her. In verses 12 through 16, we hear that all these women have gone through 12 months of beauty treatments in preparation for appearing before the king. And Esther does the same. She goes to the king following the counsel of Hegai, and as we read in verses 17 through 18, we hear that she wins the favor of the king, who decides to make her to be the queen of the entire kingdom. And he proclaims a holiday to honor her and holds a banquet with Esther being the guest of honor. As we read in verses 19 through 23, as the chapter closes, we hear that Mordecai overhears a plot to assassinate the king. And he tells Esther, who now is queen and of course is his cousin. And the would-be assassins are killed, they are arrested, and the news is recorded in the king's annals or the king's chronicles. This ends the reading of chapter 3. In chapter 3, it's a very brief chapter. It's only a few verses long, that we hear that Haman, who is one of the nobles, one of the members of the court of the king, that he's honored by the king and by all. But yet there's one person who would not bow down to Haman, and that one person is Mordecai, the cousin to Esther. He doesn't bow down to him, basically because he believes that only honor and glory should be given to God and not to any human persons. And the royal officials began to wonder what will happen with Mordecai. Will Haman tolerate his refusal, the refusal rather of Mordecai to bow down to him? The chapter ends in chapter 3, in verses 5 through 15, where we hear that Haman develops this plan to be able to kill not only Mordecai, but to kill all the Jews that are in the kingdom. And he convinces the king of this plan. And so the king, with the encouragement and arm twisting, if you will, of Haman, he develops this plan for this decree that all the Jews be killed throughout the entire kingdom. And everybody begins to wonder what will happen to these Jews. Thank you for joining us for this segment of the New Covenant Church Online Bible Study. Just a reminder to please read, as good as it is to follow these segments and how I appreciate it even more if you take the time to read and study these chapters. Also, take time to sign up to be a part of our New Covenant Church Online Bible Study Facebook group. It's a closed group, and you'll need to ask to join, but we'll be glad to have you. That way, you can not only see these video segments, but you can make comments and you can hear what others have to say about the scriptures as well. May God bless and keep you all. Take care. God bless.